Hey, everybody. Survival prevails indeed. Boy, it has been a crazy fucking week, y'all. It has been a crazy fucking week. What's up, Harper? Grounded Flygon, Logical Fororder. Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome, welcome. Greetings, greetings. I've been iced in due to our hill of a driveway. 1.5 inches of ice that had to be moved by hand. Well, then it sounds like you're not that far away from me, Logical Forwarder. I don't know what exact area of the world you're in, but that sounds about like what we got here in Mississippi. Pangloss with the $9.99. Thank you so much. By the way, if you guys want to donate, please fucking do. I don't know. Like, how am I gonna put it in is there any point in euphemizing it? The last 5 days has been hell, and if you guys feel like donating today, if you're wondering, if you're on the fence, please do it today of all days, because it is super fucking appreciated. There's a ton of damage all over the farm that I'm gonna have to figure out some way to repair. Anyway, I just put a US flag with a peace sign instead of stars outside, and I love it. I like that too. I like that idea a lot. I wish that kind of thing would become more common. It would be a way for people to demonstrate the fact that they do, in fact, love America or love the ideas that we might stand for or whatever, but don't necessarily agree with the current administration. Still raining? Sounds like rain? No, I've got a little heater going. That might be the sound you're hearing. No, it's actually a beautiful, clear day today. I don't know if you guys will be able to see through the window, but it's warmer than it has been in a week, and yeah. It's warmer than it has been in a week. The ice is finally starting to melt and drop off the houses, which it's been melting a little bit over the last couple of days. But today, I mean, the melting is just really crazy. I can't even hear any ice dropping right now, which means that most of the melt has probably already happened. Yeah, I don't see any big chunks of ice still on the trees or anything. I bet if I got up and looked around in the towards the woods and stuff, I would probably see some ice over there still. But no, it's not raining anymore. It's not snowing. Ice has stopped, but we were hit tremendously hard. I'm going to be posting some pictures on the channel over the next couple of days so you guys can get an idea of what that looks like. I'm also hoping to do a climate change video talking about how things like this are just going to become more common as the South continues to experience the effects of climate change. And I'm thinking about titling it biggest snowstorm in 100 years. Is this enough? Is this proof enough? Once again, thank you, Pangloss, for the $9.99. I super appreciate that. If anybody else wants to donate, you can do so either through Super Chat or through the Cash App, which is in my description down below. We basically had to survive on cooking on the gas grill and with a little like a charcoal grill, I guess, basically. I didn't really use it like a grill. I just more or less used it as a receptacle for charcoal to put little roasting things in. But yeah. It's always fun for like a day. After that, phew. Well, I will say we ate way better than a lot of people probably did through this storm, so I'm not trying to complain or anything about that necessarily. I mean, I guess I am a little bit, but ultimately, it's a good thing we had that stuff. It's a really good thing that I was able to remember that tiny little cast iron charcoal grill that we have, and it's a good thing that I remembered. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, um, it's just a good thing I remember that little charcoal grill because it saved us some gas. We also have a gas grill that we were using for making a lot of our foods, but the longer you cook on a gas grill, the less gas you have to work with tomorrow. So we consolidated a lot of our cooking needs into that little charcoal grill after I dug that out of the shed and got it set up, and that enabled us to survive, honestly, the last week in pretty good condition. Make sure you guys hit that like button as you're rolling in. I do want to talk about more than the fact that I was just almost killed in an ice storm at some point today, if you guys are interested. A lot has happened. Honestly, it would be fun if you guys would update me because I don't know. I literally have not had signal since Saturday morning. I have not had any form of data or signal from Saturday morning until this morning around 9 in the morning. So, what is it, Thursday? So, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, so 5 days. I went 5 fucking days without any data, without any signal. I have no idea what's going on in the broader world. It's honestly the longest break from news that I've taken in a long time. Long time. Kind of needed it. I rediscovered my love for writing, which is good, and I started. I discovered that I really like writing by candlelight, actually, which is cool. I can use that as something to help me create atmosphere that will be conducive to creativity in the future. Is all chat on? This feels like a. This feels like one of the streams when I first started streaming. There's like hardly anybody in here and 3 likes. God loves you? Well, you couldn't tell it by the weather that I've lived through. Though I have to admit, a religious person would probably look at all the things I've been through in the last 5 days and say, yeah, you might have the hand of God on you. Like, honestly, we didn't lose a single pipe. As far as we can tell, we didn't burst a single pipe despite losing power for 5 days, and we're on a well. So if we lose power, we lose water. No bursted pipes. the bladder tank didn't burst. ICE needs to deport you to hell, you dysgenic freak. Hey, Murdoch, don't ban Murdoch. We need this meat. I desperately crave this meat. All right. ICE needs to deport me to hell, and I'm a dysgenic freak. So, number one, I'm too retarded to know what dysgenic means. Could you please define it for me? And maybe I can respond to this drivel. Failing that, ICE can't actually deport citizens, as it turns out. I mean, they in theory can, but they're not legally allowed to. And you guys really love to act like you care about the rule of law. So if they start doing things like what you're advocating for, you would lose any and all backing you have with centrists. Just letting you know. Just on a purely pragmatic level. Just on an entirely pragmatic level. Setting aside the fact that I personally would very much like to continue living. Setting that aside, pragmatically, your ideas would destroy your movement. My family had a burst pipe on Christmas once, like during dinner. It was a big kerfuffle. It's always a huge kerfuffle when you have a burst pipe, whether it's during Christmas or just a normal time, because there's so many repairs that have to be done, and nobody likes crawling around under the, like underneath a house in a crawl space or whatever. I was getting a little worried, so I can't tell you how thrilled I am to see that you're okay. I've been staying away from the news for a small break, so we're on the same page as far as info. Yeah, I couldn't handle it anymore, so I'm really glad, honestly, on one hand, that this came when it did, because it gave me the opportunity to unplug and take a break from the news and not pay as much attention, which is good for me. A big part of this, which is how I make all my money, is keeping on the treadmill of the 24-hour news cycle, and that can be exhausting. Luckily, my family are all pipe fitters, so we were on it. Oh, well, then fucking yeah, you're good. My grandfather on my mom's side was a union plumber for his whole life. He was a part of the St. Louis Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union. And when we bought this house in Park Hills, Missouri, a long time ago, it was actually him that did the vast majority of the work on the house. And I was lucky enough to be able to watch him doing some of it. So I got a little bit of that information. Although we don't have copper lines in our house, so I couldn't use it. Like our house now is a trailer. It's plumbed with PEX. So none of the knowledge that I learned from my grandpa watching him work on copper line and PVC would be applicable with PEX lines, because I understand that they use like an entirely different style of joinery and everything else. So if you've got that kind of knowledge, certainly having a big pipe burst or some kind of big leak or whatever is not as big a deal as if it's just like some normal fuck, right? Like, any random average person, though, is going to have like a horrible time. And we would have had a horrible time because, like I said, I don't know shit about that plumbing system. My dad does. So, I guess I wouldn't have been entirely fucked, but it would have been a bigger kerfuffle than it has been so far. A convenient profession to have in the family. Yeah, the ideal working class family in America has 2 pipe fitters, 2 carpenters, at least 1 drywall guy, and at least 1 HVAC guy. You got all those? You're fine. You ain't ever going to need to worry about no maintenance on your house. I didn't mention roofers because one of the carpenters is 100% a roofer too. Blue collar people work all kinds of jobs. It's very rare that you find someone with like a super dedicated specialty. Like I have an uncle, I'll call him Michael, and in theory his trade is HVAC, but in reality he can do electrician work to a really good standard. He can he's the best drywaller I've ever seen like the product of. He's a really skilled carpenter, like putting things together, woodwork, all that kind of shit. So in theory, his trade is this one very specific thing. But when it comes to side jobs and stuff like that, oh man, he can fucking basically fix anything he touches when it comes to a house. I love that guy too, because him and I's political opinions are completely different, and I don't even think he believes in the concept of transgenderism, but I don't know that he's ever misgendered me. Like, I haven't talked to him in a while because him and my aunt got divorced, but like as of the last time we were talking, he didn't care. And I kind of miss people like that, people that are like deeply political, but that will shut the fuck up about it if you do, ultimately I don't have to talk politics, like it's just usually what people want to talk to me about. Congrats on surviving. Thank you, Bree. I broke the mold and didn't become a pipe fitter. I'm in entertainment. I run D&D games for a living. Oh, dude, that is an awesome fucking living, though, Jacob. What a cool thing to do for a job. That's like being a movie director, almost. I don't know what that sound I just heard was. But yeah, no, I just survived Winter Storm Fern. It was a massive ice storm. I live in Mississippi, which was the state that, from what I can tell, was hit the hardest. It's hard for me to get a grasp on that. Sound off in the chat if you've been affected by Winter Storm Fern. Sound off in the chat if you've been affected by Winter Storm Fern. Because I literally have not had data for 5 days. I don't know what has happened. I don't know what anything looks like outside of my little bubble. So please inform me. Yeah, we got 18 inches in Kentucky. Alrighty, that's one person from Kentucky. All right, come on, sound off, people in chat. Why does YouTube hate this fucking stream? You know what? I'm gonna restart on a new fucking thing. I'm thinking about restarting on a new thing. What do you guys think? Should I just stay on this stream? Because it seems like it's cursed by YouTube. Because it's like not... Like normally by this time we'd have at least 80 people sitting around. And it's just like, did I put something wrong in the title? YouTube will deprio you for that. Did I do that this time? I don't know. I'm not doing anything else differently. How do you people melt the ice? People in the South? We don't. We just sit around and hope the sun comes out at some point. Trucker from LA, I was stuck in Kentucky for hours. Too many snow. Yep, there you go. Another person reporting on the conditions of the Midwest and South. I'll rejoin if you do. Well, my husband is driving semi-trucks right now, and he's been held up in a spot by days. Oh, shit, Harper. That's awful. But yeah, no, that actually makes sense. That totally tracks because there have been a lot of fucking... There have been a lot of highway closures. There's been a ton of just general road closures because of a lack of services. I know from what little I can tell that this is hit hard. I know for... Okay, so I was able to have a conversation with Gemini a couple of days after the storm ended, like 2 or 3 days ago. I was able to have a conversation with Google's AI, Gemini. I was sitting in one of the cars out here charging my phone. I was able to get signal for like a few minutes, and I had this conversation with Gemini where I was like, hey, what does this... Like, how does this scale in comparison to previous storms? And the 2 storms it compared them to was one I didn't even know about in 1951, and then one that I had like read about a couple of minutes earlier, doing some like research to get a sense of scale, you know, of what we were dealing with. And well, what I found was that there have been 2 major ice storms in the last 100 years that have affected the South. One was the 1951 ice storm, and the other was the 1994 ice storm. If I remember correctly, the 94 ice storm had more accumulation, but a way smaller area affected. The 51 ice storm included a little less ice and way more snow, and I think... I can't remember why it was so notable. But anyway, the point is, what I was able to figure out about Winter Storm Fern as of a couple days ago was that it is the largest ice storm to ever hit the South in terms of just sheer geographical area affected, that it's one of the biggest snowstorms to ever hit the contiguous United States, and that 56% of America's landmass was at one point covered with snow. The lower 48, I mean. 56%, which is insane if you think about how little fucking snow the South gets and how rare it is for it to be getting snow at the same time a bunch of other places are getting snow. So I don't know like specific details other than those. That's all that I know about this storm so far. But yeah, like what little I do know about it is fucking insane. No, I'm not in Kentucky. I don't know if weed is legal in Kentucky or not. I have no idea. I'm from Germany. The situation in America is depressing to me. Well, tell me why, Silent Nighter. Why is it so depressing to you? By the way, hit that like button, please. You guys can send the stream out to even more people, but the only way you can do that is by hitting that like button and engaging with the content. I need you guys to engage with the content. My ego demands it. I crave the attention. Give it to me, please. All right, find me on a new stream because this one is cursed.